Hello everybody, welcome back to my first video for my league that I'm the commissioner for. This is on Comp Alpha. I started this up last year where I ended up winning it, so thank you everybody for the donations for that. But I ran a preseason power rankings for my hometown league yesterday, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I thought, if I'm doing it for that, why not do it for the league that I'm the commissioner for? So I'm going to get right into it. I think we're going to be doing this about every Wednesday or so. I'm going to have a good time doing it. I hope you guys tune in. It's going to be a good time. But like I said, let's get right into it. And coming in our 11th slot, we're going to have Schlegel's team. To be fair, I think he auto-drafted this team, so I'm not going to overly criticize it too much. But there's a lot of question marks here. And let's start off with the one bright spots. His quarterbacks. Josh Allen, great play. I mean, having Josh Allen is almost like having a second running back in your lineup with the amount of rushing touchdowns that he vultures. And I don't think that James Cook is going to put up the touchdowns that he did again, so we might potentially be seeing even more Josh Allen touchdowns this year, which is kind of crazy to even think about. And he's also got Justin Herbert down there, another great QB, but he doesn't have a quarterback, which is brutal in a league like this. Looking into his running backs, he's got Devon Achane, who he's a bit of a question mark in his own right. He's 180 pounds or some small number. He's one of the smallest backs in the NFL. He's got a soft tissue injury. That's going to linger. He handcuffed him with Jalen Wright, who isn't the right handcuff. We all saw what Ollie Gordon did in this preseason. He's going to be a beast in that offense. He won awards in college. He had a down year last year, which is why he fell in the draft. But he was the best running back in college football 2 years ago. So that's not an understatement to say that he might potentially even take this backfield from Achane himself. And I like Achane a lot. I doubt that even happens. But he's going to get some touches. And we saw last year, even Achane could go some games where he'd only get like 14 or so touches. And with the remarkable efficiency that he put up last year, it's going to be hard to replicate that again. So I think you've got a question mark there. Your RB2 is Ramondre Stevenson, and they drafted TreVeyon Henderson, so you're already just kind of ticking time bomb with that. Your backup running back is Austin Eckler. I actually like Austin Eckler a little bit. I think that JCM has a cap on what he can do. If you watched my video yesterday, I went in a little more depth. I said that he's a 7th-round pick, essentially, and there's no way that they've got Eckler under contract, they've got Brian Robinson under contract, and they're going to just throw both of these guys out the window. If they did, they would have cut Eckler at this point. And I also think that Chris Rodriguez Jr. is going to have a role in that backfield, too, that a lot of people are underestimating. But kind of glossing over all of that, you got Mike Evans. He's a guy that he's going to get his 1,000 yards every single season. And in my eyes, he's going to keep getting it. And I'm going to keep drafting him until he shows me that he can't do that anymore. And he showed me he did it last year. Really close, but he got it. So I would draft him again this year. He's a beast, and you're already looking at a lot of injuries there. And the other guy's rookie, Igbuka. He's a beast too, but Mike Evans is the guy that he has rapport with. We're going to see a big Mike Evans start to this season, especially while Godwin and McMillan are out, and until Igbuka starts to get maybe 8 to 10 targets a game, which, will we see that right off the bat? Potentially, honestly. He's a great player, but I don't know. But I will know that Mike Evans will see a large amount of targets, though, going into the start of this season. You also have Calvin Ridley. A little bit of a question mark there, but I'm a big Calvin Ridley guy. Everybody knows I'm a Calvin Ridley guy. I think he's going to be a beast with Cam Ward this year, so I'm looking forward to that. George Kittle is a top tight end in this league, but this is where you kill me with this team. You've got Rashee Rice. Who knows how long he's suspended for? The NFL is asking for 10 games. They're taking it to a board. Who knows when that gets resolved? He's going to play until it does. Is he going to be 10 games? Is he going to play the first 6 and then get 10 games and miss the playoffs where he's essentially useless? Chris Godwin hasn't been activated yet. Probably comes back around week maybe 5 or 6. Probably doesn't ramp up to full speed around week 10 or 11. You're already out of receiver. You're going to need Godwin to step up. You got to hope that Achane stays healthy in all of these games. And on top of it, you drafted Jordan Addison, who's suspended the first 3 games of the season. How do you go and have 3 guys with huge question marks that you would want to get out of the draft if maybe one of them, and this CPU drafted you all 3? Or at least I hope it's the CPU again. But I'm going to start bragging on this team. He's going to make some trades. He's going to do some work. And let's tune in to our 10th ranked team, which is going to be Damien's. A little hiccup there. Looking into Damien's team, he got screwed over a little bit. I mean, it's kind of hard at this point of the year, especially with me as a preseason power ranking guy, to rate a team that drafted Brian Robinson with a quality pick, and now their seed lineup looks like this, where essentially it would have originally looked pretty quality with Robinson, Hubbard, Tyrone Tracy, Loveland as your final flex, Laporta, Bowers. Now you're playing with Leggett, which is, it's a question mark there. I'm a Leggett guy also. I think he's going to be a good player in this offense. I think Thielen eventually gets traded. So who knows what happens there. But right now, it's just hard. I like a lot of the pieces you have in place, though. Neighbors is a beast. Bowers is a beast. Laporte is a beast. I like Baker a lot. Like I said, I think he could be a top 5 quarterback this year potentially, as long as the passing upside is there. He gets the targets in, and he plays well. I mean, he is nothing but upside in Tampa Bay as long as he keeps playing there. But it kind of hurts me with the bench a little bit. I like Trey Benson. He's a quality player, and I also like Cedric Tillman a lot. Trey Harris, you're going to just kind of wait on, but, like, you also drafted QJ. So, or I don't know what you're doing with QJ. I mean, he's probably just going to go on IR at some point. He got screwed up in that game. But right now it's looking a little rough. It's kind of hard to evaluate because you're going to need to make one move. You have a backup quarterback, which I like a lot. It steps you in the right direction for bye weeks and keeping you competitive versus some teams to help you snag a couple games. And who knows? I mean, CMC goes down. You have a elite RB1 now, and I'm sure that's what you're praying on. You're praying CMC goes down with an injury at this point. But let's move on from your team and move on to our 9th ranked team, which is going to be Devin's. And looking at Devin's team right now, obviously he looks like he has Javonte as his super flex, but he's got Cam Ward there. No backup quarterback. He's got Dobbins in his starting lineup, which I'm assuming will be Javonte. I would hope. He drafted Jordan Mason, which is a quality pick. Travis Hunter is a question mark. Terry just signed his extension, which is huge. He got value on that. Ingram, Higgins, Jettas, Kamara, Henry. It's all good, but you got Justin Fields as your QB1. And that's where you lose me. I wanted to rank you higher, Devin. I really did. I like the core. I mean, Terry is your top flex. Got the potential to build on that last flex spot. You got Wandale, you got Mason, you got Dobbins, you got Javonte. You got pieces for it. Mix and match. But you kill me with Justin Fields QB1. The rushing upside is there. You really got to hope that Henry matches his incredible touchdown pace that he had last year. And you're going to basically be a touchdown-dependent team, I feel, which is brutal, but I mean, that's kind of what you built right now, because I can't see Fields really putting up a lot of fantasy points, because I think the interceptions are going to match the passing touchdowns. So unless he gets the rushing touchdowns, he's really not going to be a great quarterback, in my opinion, in fantasy football. But, I mean, I'm a huge Evan Ingram guy. I think Evan Ingram's going to be a monster this year. I'm also a huge T. Higgins guy. I think a lot of these guys have potential to be the top players at their positions, respectfully, but there's just a huge question mark at the quarterback position, which really is going to haunt this team. And he could make a move, but that really dampens your flexes. And he's on a position where he's kind of just going to have to wait for the waiver wire potentially, or hope that Fields is the guy, which you drafted him, so I hope you think so. But me personally, I don't. It's all opinion-based. That's why I have your team a little lower. But like I said, I think your core puts you up from some of the best in the league right now. But going into the next team, in our 8th slot, we are going to have Ethan Albright, not Creeth. Looking at his team, I just have a couple question marks about that flex spot. I really like Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy as your super flex is a good spot. JT and Pacheco, you got some question marks there. I like Javonte Adams a lot this year. Trey McBride, good pick. With the flexes, I got some question marks there. And in a league like this, I'd rather rank a team higher that I'm more confident in their quarterbacks, where their core is a little weaker, compared to a team where you're going into it with a solid core, but you have no quarterback play. And I look at this team, and Although he has Debo, Warren, Jawan Jennings as his flexes compared to Devin, who had a little bit more quality there, he's got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, which is so many rushing touchdowns off the tush push. That's gonna help him out so much. You're gonna be mad every time you play Ethan's team because of that. But the reason I can't put him too high again are his flexes. He's got Jawan Jennings down there. He potentially might go on IR, I heard. There's contract disputes. There's injury problems now. So who knows what's going to happen in that position. Jalen Warren has Caleb Johnson coming up on him. I think Jalen Warren will start out as the RB1, move more into a 1B role as the season progresses into that third down back kind of play where Johnson will get like goal line work, maybe start the game, stuff like that. And like again, Debo, Terry just signed his extension, so it's kind of hard to really put too much value into Debo right now, especially with the allegations. But I do think he could have a quality season still. It's a good offense. Jaden Daniels should be able to support 2 targets, be it it's probably going to be at the expense of Zach Ertz's resurgence, but who knows? We'll see what happens. And I like Ethan's potential a lot, but I don't think he has one of the teams right now that can really compete with the top of the top. And that leads us into kind of our next tier player, which is going to be Sean. And I actually like Sean's team a lot. Sean came in second last year. I beat him in the championship. Thank you, Sean, but he still made his money back. So did Damian, winning most points for. But when I look at Sean's team, the biggest question mark for me is obviously Joe Mixon. If he had Joe Mixon playing, he might have one of the better teams in the league, which he's still in that other tier, which I kind of put him in. He's got Burrow, he's got Kyron, he's got Travion. He got his boy Travion. I like that pick a lot. He's got Brown, he's got Garrett, he's got Andrews. Shakir's a good pick. Myers just requested a trade. Who knows what happens there? Will he play? Will he not play? I think he'll play. But will he get traded? Probably at the deadline. Will he go somewhere that's useful for him? Who knows? Hearing reports he might go to the Jets, which forces you into a trade because you can't have 2 Jets receivers. That's asking you to lose the league. But again, I like what he's got going on. I mean, if Mixon comes back, he'll take that last flex spot from Keenan Allen. I'm sure Keenan Allen will play the first couple of weeks in that wide receiver 2 role until Trey Harris kind of develops, which actually works out really well with the Joe Mixon timeline. Assuming Joe Mixon can recover, there's no update on his return yet. I thankfully have not picked up Mixon in any leagues so far, so I'm glad I don't have to worry about this. But it is becoming a huge concern. And what do you think it is? It's soft tissue, which a lot of these running backs are accumulating. You're seeing it with A-Chain. So A-Chain's injury already went from 1 week to week. And I think he's going to play week 1, but if he re-aggravates that injury, it will be an entire season thing. Just like Joe Mixon's injury right now, which already put him on the IR, this is going to be an all-season thing. But can he put in some wins here and there and play through it? I don't know. Hopefully, if he does, Sean's got a really good-looking squad. But right now, that just holds him back from kind of moving up my rankings a little bit. But next up on the rankings, we're going to have Fowler. And Fowler's got a bit of an interesting team, in my opinion. I actually really like it a lot. Bo Nix is his QB1 with this is the kind of the shitty part. He's got Bryce Young as his QB2, but he also has Rodgers, backup QB. Like I said, huge. I like Swift. I like Pollard. There's a lot of injuries in that Chicago backfield right now, making Swift a very, very, very valuable asset, especially in the Ben Johnson offense with all those injuries. We're seeing soft tissue on Monungai. I think there's some foot injury with Roshan. I tried to do research on it yesterday. I couldn't even figure out what's going on with Roshan Johnson, so he might get put on IR. I heard he might get cut. It hasn't looked like he's been cut yet. I would assume he would have been a pretty notable name to be on the cut market, as somebody would have probably picked him up on waivers since he's a good back, to be honest. But let's talk about the other portion of his team where he really succeeds, and that's his receiving core. He's going in with CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, Ladd McConkey, and Cooper Kupp. And that is very quality. That's 4 wide receiver. No, I'm not going to say. It's 3 wide receiver ones and a very quality wide receiver, too. And he's also got Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. I'm very big on both of those guys this year. I think Tucker Kraft could be a top 8 tight end. I think Tyler Warren could also be a top 8 tight end or a 1.5 tight end PPR premium league. So that really benefits him a lot, having 2 tight ends there. So this team really could go up there. And I'm not going to change my rankings right now, but I do know that as I was building this, I did see that Tajay Spears just went on IR, so that is pretty huge for the Tony Pollard play there, and he's looking at two potential workhorse backs right now in Swift and Pollard, unlikely workhorse backs due to injuries to the guys behind them. So as long as they can stay healthy, it's looking good. And I'm not going to gloss over Nick Chubb on that bench right now either. Nick Chubb is going to be a stud to have for these first 4 weeks, which you can put in for Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft. Hell, put him in for Bryce Young. You're going to have a stud with Nick Chubb these first couple weeks. But I will say, will he stay healthy? I don't know. There's a lot of reports coming out of Texans camp saying that Nick Chubb has lost that explosiveness, and there's a reason the Browns let him go. So I'm excited to see what Nick Chubb looks like week 1. I'm going to be tuned into that Texans game. I need Jaden Higgins to play well, so we'll see what happens. But we're going to move on to our next team, and this is going to be our 5th slot, entering our top 5. Fowler was just at 6. Entering our top 5, we're going to go over the ranks real quick just so everybody knows. We're going to have 11 Schlegel, 10 Damian, 9 Devin, 8 Albright, 7 Sean, 6 Fowler. In our 5th slot, we got Creeth. And I actually drafted with Creeth. So I got to take some dot pep for this one. I really like his team a lot. I did give him some opinions with some players, and obviously it's hard to outdraft some people at times when he did get screwed over with a couple picks. I like the Jaden Daniels play a lot. He's going to be huge, and he has Patrick Mahomes. I think that he has the best quarterback stack in the league, and that is going to help him out a lot, especially with the core that he built. I think his weakness is his running backs, where he has Brees and Monty. Monty's going to be a good RB2 to have. He's not going to put up like 3-4 points a game. He's going to put up like 10 points a game potentially, and he's going to look good. I think what hurts is Brees Hall, but he's going to be good until he gets traded. If he doesn't, he's going to have a steal in Brees Hall potentially this year. I like Nico a lot. Nico is going to be a stud. Nico's a first-round pick in regular PPR, and he got him with Mahomes and Daniels, along with grabbing Marvin Harrison, who's been building a great rapport with Kyler Murray this offseason. He's going to potentially be a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy football with ease, in my opinion. David Njoku, going to be a good tight end this year. I think Harold Fanning's coming up. I saw him on Fowler's bench, but I'm not too worried about Fanning. I think that's a dynasty play, if anything. I like Njoku this year, unless he gets traded. Devonta Smith, if you watched my video yesterday, I said that him, Higgins, and George Pickens are 3 of the best wide receiver 2s in football, and they are going to stand out in fantasy this year. I like Devonta Smith. Stephon Diggs is going to be really good. I also like Josh Downs a lot, along with Michael Pittman. I like Josh Downs. So, building when I look at this whole team as a whole, he's got to add somebody as that last bench spot. I mean, there's got to be a free agent you could add. He doesn't have any quarterback, but the bench plays he does have are quality. He's got Sharp, he's got Ray Davis, he's got Najee, all his RB depth behind his guys, which I actually really like a lot. He's got Hollywood Brown, he's got Luther Burden, he's got Jonnu, he's got Mason Taylor, he's got really good depth. But there's some question marks there, with Diggs. But overall, it's a really well-rounded team. I do think that some of the teams ahead of him are just a little better, though, but it's not a bad team. I really like this team a lot. And coming in our 4th slot, we're going to have Loudy. And I think Loudy really built something crazy with his team this year. He went very off the rails from what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was actually just going to let his bias take over and go for Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson, and he didn't. He goes with a Tua, Geno, McCarthy QB trio, which mix and match, and that's going to be a great QB trio, in my opinion, to have as long as he does it right. He's going to have Saquon and K9 along with Omari and Hampton as his plays, as flexes. I think that's incredible. Kelsey as a tight end is huge. I love having Kelsey as my tight end as long as you didn't draft Worthy or Rice. So having Kelsey is going to be a great play. I like DK, I like Puka, and Olave and Pittman are quality plays. I just said I like Downs, but I also said I like Pittman. I think both of them are going to be put up good numbers in a Daniel Jones offense. I think it's going to be a very underrated offense this year to own in fantasy. And Olave is that wide receiver 1. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be that guy. And what really hurts this team is this bench, but I think the starting lineup is going to be deadly diverse this year. You're going to have Najee out a couple games, and at least I think so, and Hampton's going to just take over this backfield potentially. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I mean, I'm not going to go too in depth because the bench isn't really there, but I really like Loudy's team. I think he's got a potential to win it all with this lineup. He doesn't even need to make a trade, to my opinion, to just continuously compete week in, week out. So I really like his team also, but there is a bit of a gap with these top three teams, in my opinion, and I think they're very elite, and I think this third team is going to be a surprise to some teams. I like Matt Negro's team a lot in this third slot. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people might not view this team as that great of a team, but based off some of the reports I'm hearing, a couple of guys that I like, I think this team is really, really quality. I think having Gibbs and McCaffrey as your RBs is going to be actually lethal this year. It's going to win him so many games. He waited long and got Prescott and Darnold. He doesn't have a QB3, but I think Darnold's going to be a beast this year. I like Aaron Jones a lot. He's got Josh Jacobs as his flexes too. He's got running backs for days, and that is huge in a league like this. Goddard's going to be a quality play. He still picked up Reek and Zay Flowers. He's got Bigsby on his bench, and I'm hearing reports that Bigsby or Etienne might be moved. And if Etienne's moved, Bigsby's going to be a potential RB1 play this year if Etienne is moved. I'm not a huge guy on Tootin as being a competitive guy to Bigsby or one outside of a couple touches here and there a game, maybe 6-7 touches. But I think Bigsby might reach 15-20 touches a game if Etienne's moved, which will be massive. Potentially 25 on a longer offensive-driven game. Like, that could be crazy for Bigsby this year because he's been seeing a lot of work in the receiving game already, from what I'm hearing, to expand him, and he's already been a goal line guy. So I love Pat Bryant on that bench too. Chiggy Okonkwo, love that guy too. But beside that, I mean, there's just a couple other guys that I think could have maybe helped out this bench a little more, like grabbing a backup quarterback. Maybe not going after Keon Coleman because I'm not too high on him. I like Matthew Golden a lot. I think he has potential to be a wide receiver 1, but maybe going for something a little more proven there could have catapulted you to like the best team in the league. But I mean, I really like Matthew Golden there too. You don't have other rookies. It's good to take a shot. And you handcuffed Orlando with McCaffrey. I mean, it sucks you got B-Rob, but I mean, at the end of the day, I gotta see B-Rob prove something to me in that offense and take snaps away from McCaffrey before I can really go ahead and say, okay, this isn't McCaffrey's workhorse role anymore. But going into our second slot, we're gonna have Jordan's team. And Jordan drafted a very interesting team, and I'm kind of ranking this one off of what I think it'll be at the end of the season. So it's not going to look as good on paper right now per se, but I mean, he's got RJ Harvey, who right now I don't think week 1 is going to come out and be a workhorse back. He's got pass pro problems. He had pass pro problems in college. But I think that come the end of the season, he's going to have 15, 20 touches in games, schemed up touches for him, which are going to be good yardage touches. I think James Conner is going to be a good back. I mean, he's going to be a guy that is going to, like Mike Evans, keep playing good and prove me wrong, pretty much. Like, I'm going to keep drafting him until he is proving me that he can't play football anymore. Lamar is a beast. He got Caleb as his QB2. He's got Penix as his QB3. I love Ollie on the bench. I love Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt on the bench. Bill, might I say, little Bill. I did draft Zach Ertz a little bit before, but he's a quality tight end. And I love Braylon Allen on his bench, too. That's another great play. Etienne could be traded somewhere where he might find a bigger role than he might have in Jacksonville, but right now in Jacksonville he still has a quality role, so it's not a bad play. I like Igbuka and McMillan. More Igbuka than I like McMillan. I'm not too high on McMillan, but he is the wide receiver 1. So we'll see, and especially if Dion gets traded, that means that they're high on him. So we'll see. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's going to stand out in that offense. The more and more I read about him, the more and more I think he's going to be a beast this year. He's an LSU guy. I love the Tigers. Go Tigers. And he's got Kyle Pitts at tight end. How could he not like Kyle Pitts at tight end? But moving into our top slot, and I think that this team is a very, 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 very quality team. And you probably guessed it by now. It's going to be Ants. I think Ant killed this draft. I think he's got the best team in the league pretty easily. He got Goff and Love, two quality quarterbacks, snagged Jones and AR as his backup quarterbacks as well. So he's got the one there. Even if one goes down, he's got the other. He's always got a backup quarterback play. He's got Jerome Ford, who right now is looking like the RB1. Who knows if they make a trade? Right now, he's their backfield. I like Jerome Ford. I also like Dylan Sampson, though, too. But I mean, Jerome Ford is the one right now. He's got Shaheed on his bench. It's a quality bench play. I'm not a huge fan of Shaheed, but I think Shaheed is going to get some touches. I think it's an interesting offense. They're going to play around with it. And I also like Ricky Pearsall a lot. He's their only receiver right now. He's a guy that potentially should be in the starting lineup week 1 over a guy like Jalen Waddle. And that's where his bench runs so deep, because you've got guys like that on your bench, like a Pearsall, like a Rashid Shaheed, like a Jerome Ford. You've got two backup quarterbacks. You have your handcuffs to Bijan and Tyler Algier, who might even become a flex play at one point. You've got your handcuff to Chase Brown and Taj Brooks in case Chase Brown ever goes down with an injury. JSN's a wide receiver 1. Sutton's a wide receiver 1. Judy's a wide receiver 1. Waddle's in one of the best passing offenses in the league. Pearsall is a wide receiver 1 right now. Beside George Kittle, I mean, he's the wide receiver 1. I think that this team is very clearly a step above the rest when you look at how complete it is, how top dominant but also deep the team runs, with getting the best guys on their team at their respective positions while completing a roster that mixes both good RB depth, good wide receiver depth, and it's a lineup that is going to consistently put up points week in, week out without relying on touchdowns, which I think is huge. You know, every guy in this lineup right now is going to get their share, especially, but the exception maybe being Hawkinson, which he has Jatavion Sanders on his bench, which I think is actually a really quality backup tight end play. But I think having Hawkinson as your only question mark is a good question mark to have. So that is all today, boys. I hope you guys enjoyed my power rankings for our league. I'm gonna have a week 1 predictions on who I think is gonna win every matchup coming next Wednesday, so tune in for that. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and peace out.